have people, right, in university, and I saw this surprisingly when I got into my first year in university. I saw parents coming to school to line up to do medicals for their children. It didn't make sense to me, right? I also saw parents who were going to banking halls to help pay the school fees of their children. I have been going to the market since I was 9. We went to boarding school. We were carrying buckets of water on our head across hilly slopes and all the whatnot. All right. We woke up cutting grass. And I'm not saying everybody should go and say, yeah, but you see, there's a level of independence that
prepared you for life.
Yeah, exactly. But these days, children are, mommy, they've not paid my school fees. I'm waiting for you. Daddy, I'm sick. In university, parents come to university to stay with their children who are sick.
The Italians, normally, Italians, most of them Catholics, and usually baptism, and you have a godfather or thereabouts. But aside spiritually, the Italians believe that life is so difficult, you need more than one father. So you've got your real father, and you've got a godfather. So they believe someone should basically guide you and help you through life. But here's the thing, for our situation here in this country, things are indeed that difficult. And I hear this often, I want my children to enjoy, or my children should be better than I was. Enjoy life.
Not suffer like I did.
Yes, they say so. But unfortunately, it's a good thing. Your children shouldn't suffer like you did. But what you went through shaped you. And that's why you now have, and you want to provide for your kids. Mm-hmm. So you see, indeed, things are hard, and you want to ensure that your children do not suffer like you suffered. But guess what? In the end, you might bring up children who will not now be able to provide for their own children like you have done for them. They might not be like your own father, maybe, who could not provide for you.
Okay, all right. So now we've set the template. We're going to open the phone lines very shortly. Obviously, it's a conversation. So we'll be speaking with you after the commercial. We have a commercial coming up, as always, 9:25 stop set. It's just about 1 minute and 38 seconds. So in the next 2 minutes, gather your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, this Friday morning. Because whilst you're going to get to your watering holes later on today with your favorite friends and your favorite enemies, your son or daughter may want to go out, but you have locked them like bingo. You have used the padlock you've put in your back pocket. Only God knows what your children will be up to if they could go out like you. Stay tuned. Hello, Port Harcourt returns.
For more
0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. Once again, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. At Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you'll find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH. Then if you want to send us a message, we encourage you to do so. Please use the number 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. Have we become overprotective parents? And if we are, what is the future for our children? What's the future of Nigeria? How can we remedy it? And my second question, please, very important question. Are you ready for your child to explore? Some of you love them as babies. Oh, Junior, so cute, baby. Oh my God, Ada has now reached 10, 11, 12. Ada comes and tells you, Mommy, I like James. Hey, problem has started. She has to explore. You will send her into the world. Are you ready for that?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeriainfo FM. Nigeriainfo, let's talk.
Jude on 92.3 Nigeriainfo.
All right, 92.3 Nigeriainfo. Patrick is on the line from a chair. Patrick, good morning to you. Welcome to Hello Port Harcourt.
Yes, Canada. I greet you this morning.
Brother Patrick, it's Judo. Pakada is asleep.
Jude, I'm very, very sorry. Jude, sorry.
It's okay.
Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, Patrick. Good morning.
I'm at the party. I'm going for my break.
Welcome.
Do you know any child that wants to spoil will also spoil no matter where you lock the child? No matter how you put the child in a private vehicle or in a school, a private school, that child wants to spoil, the child will still spoil anytime. So the thing is that the inbuilt and the education, the orientation you are giving to that child,
okay,
is what will help that child to grow. The orientation you are giving to that child is the only thing that will help that child. Saying that you will carry the child or keep the child in a private school or in a city vehicle to school to house, it will not make that child not to spoil. What about we have social media phone now?
That's a concern. It's a valid concern.
They can communicate with that phone beyond your understanding, even without you knowing. So the orientation you will get that child with is what will make that child to be as he wanted to be. So orientation is very important here. So no matter where you get the child.
Okay, now Patrick, let me ask you before you leave. From what you see in Nigeria right now in Port Harcourt, do you think parents have become overprotective?
You say what?
From what you can see in Port Harcourt now in Rivers State, do you think the parents today are protecting their children too much?
They are protecting their child now. They are paying to protect, but it's not working.
It's not working.
It's not working.
It's not. It's not working. It's not working. So being a parent is a full-time job. Let me put this across to you. This was on my phone, Mr. Carl. So Grace here is saying, Jude, whatever I do, no matter what I do, I am worried that after the age of 10, I will not be able to control my child. Do I send the child to boarding school? Would that really help? Or do I just keep covering up for my child? That's Grace.
Age of 10. Bothered that at the age of 10 will no longer be able to control the child.
Yes, because by 10 you're going to secondary school, or these days 10, 11.
Yeah, so you see they spend more time at school and you're hustling. So here's where the problem is. You're there hustling, you're living life. So you do not spend so much time. But can you, for Grace, can she find within the little time she has, at least sit down and have chats every day. You make it a daily thing. You know what? Your daughter should become your girlfriend, or your son should become your friend. You know, that kind of a thing. Can they cut out that time?
Favor is on the line from Ichukwu. Favor, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Favor.
I'm fine.
Talk to us. What's going on?
Everything is going well.
Okay.
Presently now, parents are becoming so overprotective of their children and forgetting to teach them the right thing.
Do you think your parents are overprotective of you?
No, they are not.
Okay, so they let you go out, they let you socialize?
They let me bet with control.
With conditions.
When
Control,
you go
yeah.
out to play with friends, you come back before 6.
Okay.
Because you have to do the house chores before it gets dark.
Okay.
Then, currently now, parents always lock up their kids in the house. When they go to school, they are not allowed to check them, scared of being kidnapped, entering the wrong vehicles. All that. Then back then, when I was in school, I do walk down with my siblings.
Okay.
But before we go to school, she will be like, when you're coming by, you greet your elders. Don't follow any stranger. Walk straight to the house. It's something she taught us, and we
Walk straight home.
We know that we don't walk with strangers, but that didn't stop us from walking home by ourselves. But right now, it's not like that. And thirdly, they fail to teach them things they are meant to know, because they feel when they teach them, they will get spoiled, or they are not supposed to know by that age. Why you're supposed to tell them so that they don't know it from the wrong person in the wrong way.
Favor, thank you very much. That's one of those things I keep hearing about. Age-appropriate information. Magnus is on the line for mile 3. Magnus, good morning, please.
Good morning to you, Mr. Jude.
Good morning, Magnus.
And to my own brother, Card, I greet you, sir.
I salute you, Magnus.
Yes, very quickly. I think the topic we are discussing this morning is very important, especially here in River State. Parents in River State today are overprotecting their children or their child. You will see a child of 10, 9, 10, 11, 12 years, from AC motor to AC school, AC house to AC office, and they are not being exposed to reality. What is the reality of life? It's very important that parents should allow their child to feel free to know what is happening in the society. In as much as you're trying to protect your child, you cannot protect your child alone. It is only God that protects. So whether you lock your child inside your room, or once that child goes out, what he or she might do will surprise you. So it's not about you protecting your child. It's about doing what you need to do as a parent and allow God to do the rest. It's very important. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Magnus. So that line, Carl, is a very worrying line. You can only do so much, and God will do the rest.
You've got to try your best.
Yeah.
And in the world we live in these days, a whole lot of things we hear. So maybe you will not blame some parents for being protective. I had a colleague who told us this story. Didn't let the kids go out to buy even simple stuff, but needed something, I think, for cooking in the kitchen. And the boy volunteered, let me go and get it. Can you? Let me go get it. She now allows him, he goes to get it. But guess what? First time, and she had to now follow him. She hid and followed him. Do you know when he turned and he discovered that the mom was following him? He was disappointed. Mommy, you did not trust that I could go on my own and get it, So, see, we are that scared because of the way the world... Maybe, has it become paranoia?
Yeah, it's beginning to sound like paranoia.
Because there's this book we read, I always quote this, The Stillborn, Zainab Alkali, where Kaka, that's the grandfather, told his son who was too harsh, when you cage these kids too much, eventually they will break down the fence, or they will escape from that fence, they will escape from the cage, and the world will become too big a place for them to live. You see, when you keep kids, enclosed do everything for them, guide, protect, and shelter them so much. When they eventually get into the real world, they cannot cope. Because I went to boarding school, when I got into the university, some people were asking me, "Oh boy, you don't stay hostel before?" I said, "Not the university hostel, to ogle you or stuff like that." I was prepared for all that. So it exposed me. Boarding school helped in a ways because somehow maybe parents now, because of the busy nature of their schedules and hustling and all that, they may not have all that time. Like Grace, who said she thinks that it will be beyond her. So you can maybe just have an hour or two or even some minutes. But at least in school, it's the school's responsibility, though you're now entrusting it onto them if it's boarding school, to now shaping that child, to now give that child, what. I remember the first time I told my parents I wanted to go and see somebody. I was going to get into a taxi and go and see someone. My mother looked at me like this. "You know the place?" I said, "Yes." She said, "What's the route?" And I told her the buses I will take and the taxi I will now take to get to the place. "Okay, make sure you come back by..." It was a Saturday. "Make sure you're back by 4. But she was looking at me somehow. I don't think if perhaps I was not in boarding school, my mom would have allowed it. But you see, she had detached, learned to detach herself.
Look, speaking of those milestones, all right. Before I go back to the phone line, I remember when I was eager, like most of my friends were at that age, to learn how to drive, right? Yeah. I was so I would come. I would be in the class. My papa don't teach me. We don't go ring road. Come back. I'm like, why can't I learn? Yes, I knew that. Yes, my dad wasn't. We were not as well off as those people who had 3 or 4 cars. Yeah. But I still wanted to learn. And so on the day I turned 18, washing the car had become my life's ambition. I've been washing the cars since every holiday. As I come back from school, boom, I'm washing the car. So I told my dad, "Daddy, I want to learn how to drive. I can actually drive." My dad looked at me and said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, I've been watching you." He said, "Really?" So what do you do? I told him. I said, "Okay, move this car in this compound." He gave me the keys.
He trusted you.
I go into the car, and when they give you, you're like, "Yeah, I can do it." But when I sat behind the wheel and turned the ignition, did everything right, my legs started to shake. But my dad was not in the car with me. My dad, he was outside. He sat down. I was just watching. Said, "Move the car. Let me see." I moved the car front and back, and I got down. And then the next day, he gave me the key. Gave me 200 naira. Then a crate of mineral was 200 naira. Well, in a Lekaya estate. And then he said, go and buy a crate and come back.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Hey! Coming out of the gate, no problem. But the minute I got to the road, whoa! Little did I know that when I was leaving, my dad had taken the other exit, the other end, walked and was just waiting for. He was watching me all the while, watching. I didn't know my dad was watching me until I bought the crate. Well, it was a drive of like 400 yards from inside the complex, for example, to where we have the junction, just the entrance here. It wasn't far. He knew that there was not going to be anybody because it was a Saturday morning, right? But it was a big risk. But I was forever grateful that he trusted me, because we got to go to a driving school. We got drivers, got mechanics. I got taught by mechanics. And from that day forth, anything concerning the vehicle was my responsibility.
So you see, your father, at least, he trusted you. He knew you. He lived with you. Another problem or another thing we have is that sometimes people, you may know your child, but who are they hanging out with? Who are their friends?
Yeah.
So you don't know their friends, and they may influence them wrongly. Yeah. That's what happens in this time and age when we have lots of bad things happening. A well-brought-up child could be influenced by, his peers. Now, in my case, for driving, it was my mom now trusting my friend. It was a friend who actually taught me to drive. So I told her, I want to learn how to drive. I said, really? I said, yes, I want to learn how to drive. And I said, so driving school? I said, no need. My friend, your friend? Say, yeah, he already drives. He usually drives. So at least one Saturday, he even drove to the house. So my mom now said, okay, you can have my own car. Go ahead. And, so we were trusted. But these days, do we give our kids that liberty? Do we trust them that much? Like you say, have we become so protective of them that, we do not want anything to happen? Someone tell you, do you know how I suffered for this child? Or do you know how you don't want anything to happen? Yes, I do understand you must protect them, but they are not now prepped for real life. They will not be under your apron strings for the rest of their lives. They need to be able to be independent and actually, do things on their own and all. So let me quickly ask, for some of those who are listening, that we know for those maybe who may listen to Nigeriainfo, some of them are maybe elite. Are their kids able to go to the next junction to purchase stuff? Can they send their kids to go and buy stuff? Can they allow their kids perhaps take a taxi on their own to go,
That's a good question. Do your kids know the routes to get to church, to get to their auntie's house on their own without you putting the driver? What are we saying? We had an intern a few years ago that used to have their mom drop them. Oh my days. Let me read your messages, all right? I haven't forgotten about your messages. 0809 030 6416. 0809 030 6416. Now, this one's from Anonymous. Says, it is very easy to say that what we went through shaped you, but you'll assume all of us like how we turned out or things that we've done. I was taught to think all men would disappoint you, so to start doing certain things on my own then when I was younger. I became hyper independent, but I ended up marrying a wealthy, kind man who loves me, and that's when I actually started struggling. I nearly drove him crazy because at first my man couldn't cope with the reality of abundance and kindness with no strings attached. Not everyone must suffer the same way to prove or gain independence, and one person's normal is another person's luxury. I have carried water on my head just once. I couldn't even complete that one time, and I won't do it again. I am not struggling for I am not struggling for maturity title with anyone. My children will not go through any unnecessary suffering, and no, they are not going to any boarding school because I did not see any value or in boarding schools when I went. People learn in different ways. Mine will be able to take public transport, but they will travel in air-conditioned cars and private jets when the need arises.
I'll just quickly say, when we say your experience shapes you, we're not saying that, yes, because you carried cement and we're crying. No, at least it teaches you how to prepare better for your own kids also.
So how do we prepare our kids for that? It's very difficult. It's very rare to see a child of a wealthy man appreciate life's nuances and, the vicissitudes that come with life. Most children, they only know one way, which is, mommy, food comes.
And provide. They provide. No, so that's the thing. So like that message you just read, she should be rich all her life and ensure that she provides for her kids all their lives. So we are not saying that they must suffer, but teach them to appreciate the simple things, to be able to do the simple things. You know why? There might be a period where there is a period of want, a period of, lack.
Yeah.
So let them be able to cope when that time comes. Right now, they are coping in the period of, I like to read. Mario Puzo's godfather.
Yeah.
Now, he had somebody, the godfather himself had somebody who was his consigliere. That's his assistant and advisor and all that. But when his Sonny took over, Sonny kept the consigliere aside. Do you know what he told him? You are not a wartime consigliere. They were at war. The godfather had just been shot, so his son was taking over. You cannot manage things now that when you were the godfather's advisor, there was peace, there was abundance. But now I need a wartime advisor. That's what he told him. So sometimes the situation we find ourselves in lives will determine what exactly we should do at one point in time.
All right, 017-923-0002, 0817923-0003. All right, at Nigeriainfo, PH at Nigeriainfo. PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeriainfo. PH at Nigeriainfo. PH. Soki Fubara in Port Harcourt sends a message. Says, our economy is not favorable and life is not as easy as it was in the time of our parents. Back in those days, you got a job and you can get married. You can easily get a one room and start a family. It's not as simple these days for school leavers and young graduates. For overprotection, the society has a lot of crime. So you just have to protect your children to avoid wahala. Soki Fubara says, to avoid wahala. But even with the wahala, if they're not prepared for it, how would they cope with it?
Because, yes, we do everything. Nobody goes out looking for trouble.
True.
Nobody goes out looking for wahala. Like there's a prayer that says protects us from all anxiety.
Yeah.
But when it does come, so how ready are we for it? That's the question.
My 2.3, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, please.
Yeah, this is Kupus.
Welcome.
From LL.
Welcome.
Yeah. In your discussion, I heard what you have been discussing. Yes. And my contribution is this. A lot of all these behaviors in the family that training the children is influenced by nature. So we have to balance it. You don't have to tie your children, lock them like this, but you don't also allow them to have freedom until they get into trouble. But nature has a lot of things to do. If we tie a man gave us a story. Hello, are you with me?
Yes, well, listen to you, sir. Go on.
Good. So the man said he had a child, and then kept the child was growing in the house. Everything in the house. He used to bring in teachers to teach him. He used to bring everything inside the house, garden, everything, swimming pool. He couldn't go out because he doesn't want him to spoil outside. But eventually, he said one day he started growing and asking certain questions he couldn't understand about life. So he decided to say, okay, let me take him out. He took him in his car, went out the street. So as he was driving, the boy was looking around and around and around. So he saw a lady. He said, started looking at him mostly. Father said, what are you doing? I'm looking at this lady. It's fine. But she said, no. That is a pig.
Hey!
Never you touch it, it's not good.
That's a pig.
Next time, he tried the same. And the boy still told him, hey, in fact, I love that pig. It's a pig. You see? So he was not trying to tell us that you don't have to, it's not like tying them, keeping them in
the house,
even when the person is overgrown. If he gets into the society, he will be influenced. And if you are not careful, it will be negative.
That's a point. Muriel is on the line. Thank you very much for Mokrika. Muriel, good morning to you, please.
Thank you, Jude. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
And good morning to Carl.
Yeah, good morning to you, Muriel.
Look, Jude, I think parents are really being too overprotective. Thereby, when I say shielding or depriving our youth, these children from childhood experiences.
Depriving?
The experiences that they enjoy themselves. These are the rudiments of life. The children need to experience these things. When you shield them, you deprive them of their youth, of this their tender age. It's not as if you just leave your child carelessly to go and get fought or get, kidnapped. But we know the society has changed. Fine. But even in our time, Jude, the society was not perfect. I was in school. I was in town. I'm at school in an SCMG. I stayed in town. I went alone. I was so small. When I was a little girl, I was so slim and tiny. But yet my mother was so confident. So Saturday, the first 2 days, she took me to St. Jude bus stop. See where you enter bus. And told me, this thing, she will stop at Lagos bus stop from there to park. So I started and I ended it. It was fine. When my children, look at what I did, Jude. Yes, it's not as if God has not helped me or helped my family a bit. God has tried for me and I appreciate. But do you know what I did? When my children were 10, I was doing school runs. I dropped them, I picked them up, I dropped them, I picked them up. When they entered secondary school, I'll be a little bit far away. I changed them from that school. I took them to a good school close to my house so that they can be going. They check down. It's not as if the school is closed. They send them, they come back. They go together and come back. When my son got finished, she left for university. All that. Even my own experiences as a little girl, when I finished college, I told my child, you teach your children your experiences, how you lived, how you started, how you overcame all these things, so that they can learn. You can teach them by shielding them. You let them out and tell them your experiences, the mistakes you made.
So, Miriam, before I let you go, quickly, right? Is it, in your own opinion, particularly here in Rivers State, in Port Harcourt, where you do your business and have your children go to school, do you think a good number of parents or a lot more of the parents are overprotective of their children?
Look, Jude, immediately cash comes. Immediately they run into cash. All of a sudden they become overflow. If there's no money, trust me, government school is fine.
Hey! You are checking tables.
So it's dependent on the money.
You are. Oh my God, that's a huge statement. Zion's on the line from GR. Zion, good morning to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning, please.
What the parents are doing, they are only but struggling, underline that word, to defy reality. And they now target, I am only but protecting you. No man on earth can protect a child except God Almighty. Put it on record. See, we must balance this discourse. In protecting your kids from harm and giving them freedom to fail, to struggle, and have some skills to succeed. Don't go out. Don't do this. Don't do that. I've provided everything to you inside.
Inside, yes.
You just successfully depriving children. That's what you've done.
So
you succeeded in depriving them.
So Zion,
providing but depriving.
Yeah, so depriving. Say depriving. So is it in your own view? Because we have to go on a break. That the parents you see around Port Harcourt have become overprotective.
Over depriving their children.
Wow.
And check how children are behaving. Do they behave like us? How many of these children today have skills of survival? Are you aware most of them can't even be recruited in the most of the military training because their bones are not strong to endure?
That's another one.
Zion, their bones are not.
So they are not strong enough, so they cannot be recruited. Is that what he's saying?
Oh no, come on! But look, we win well. I don't think Carl is antagonizing anybody, but the truth is something really has to start to change.
Yeah. First of all, they say train your child well. So that should start shaping the child from primary school. Don't say they are too young. Start shaping them. Then when they get to a certain level, you give a certain level of freedom. But here's the thing. You must constantly monitor. In our time and in our day, things are difficult. We are hustling that much. So where the problem is that there's no enough time. You must be able to spend some few hours with your kids and how far? What happened today?
Checks and balances.
So just check. So first of all, start from primary school. Train them. Then you now start giving them some levels of freedom.
All right, we're going on a break. Guys, are you depriving your child of experiences? Because ultimately, those bougie Ajabota children will come and meet us, the Paco ones, and date us, and marry us, and even have children by us. Hello? Hey.